In 2025, the world finds itself at a pivotal crossroads. Sanctions and tariffs, once the domain of bureaucrats and policy wonks, have become headline acts on the global stage.
Starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations.
Trump administration's imposition of massive tariffs on Chinese goods.
President Trump's unprecedented series of U.S. tariffs that are designed to reshape the international trading system.
President Trump is sending one of America's biggest retailers a warning, telling Walmart it should, quote, eat tariffs and not raise prices on its consumers.
Countless other nations charge us tremendously higher tariffs than we charge them.
No longer merely technical instruments of economic governance, they are now sharp-edged tools wielded with precision to achieve strategic objectives.
I campaigned on this policy throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept.
These measures are not just reshaping national economies, they are redrawing the very architecture of international alliances. As economic fault lines deepen, they're creating new centers of gravity and alliances that challenge the dominance of traditional Western-led systems. Behind this transformation lies a deeper question: who is really in control of the global economic narrative? From the spiraling tensions between the United States and China to Russia's deliberate pivot eastward, the old playbook of global economics is being rewritten in real time.
A group of emerging economies can evolve as an engine of global growth.
But these aren't changes confined to elite summits or diplomatic backchannels. They're shifts with tangible impacts on everyday life. From the price you pay at the pump to the availability of certain goods on your local shelves, the ripple effects are far-reaching.
US President Donald Trump is considering easing sanctions on Syria.
To grasp this new world, we must first understand the forces at play. Welcome to the Global Insight. To understand the geopolitical chessboard of 2025, we must first grasp the tools being used to move its pieces: sanctions and tariffs. These are no longer niche instruments wielded behind closed doors. Sanctions are now sweeping and punitive measures imposed by countries or international bodies to punish or deter actions deemed hostile or unlawful. They often target sensitive sectors such as finance, energy and defense. And according to recent data from the London Stock Exchange Group, there are now nearly 80,000 sanctioned individuals and entities across the globe. What's more startling is the surge in what analysts are calling sanctions inflation, which has spiked at an annual rate of 17.1%. This isn't just a policy trend, it's a tidal wave reshaping global interactions at every level. Tariffs, while more conventional, have evolved from basic economic tools into complex strategic levers. These taxes on imports or exports are increasingly used not just to protect domestic industries, but to assert national interests and apply pressure in high-stakes negotiations. Since 2017, the Global Sanctions Index has recorded a staggering 446% increase in the use of such measures. The fallout is extensive. Multinational corporations are grappling with ballooning compliance costs, while ordinary consumers are confronted with rising prices and limited product availability. As geopolitical rivalries intensify and the world moves towards economic nationalism and strategic decoupling, these instruments are likely to become even more prevalent. Even if the pace of sanctions inflation slows, the underlying dynamics show no signs of abating.
China was taking us for a ride, and just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
In 2025, the enduring rivalry between the United States and China has escalated into a full-blown economic conflict that is reverberating across the globe.
They would make billions and billions and billions of dollars a year, and they would build their military out of the United States and what they made, so that won't happen.
In a dramatic move this April, the US imposed tariffs as high as 145% on Chinese imports, citing unfair trade practices and growing national security threats. According to a recent analysis on LinkedIn, these sweeping measures represent a strategic attempt by Washington to curb China's economic influence and decouple critical supply chains. In response, Beijing wasted no time in retaliating. It slapped tariffs of up to 125% on American goods and blacklisted multiple US companies, effectively barring them from accessing the vast Chinese consumer market. Among the more controversial steps taken by the US was the elimination of the de minimis exemption, which now imposes levies on even the smallest imported packages, an aggressive strike against e-commerce behemoths like Shein and Temu. The consequences were immediate and severe. The tit-for-tat tariffs triggered a sharp contraction in bilateral trade, with China staring down a projected annual loss of $200 billion due to the US tariffs, as outlined in the same LinkedIn report. While both sides have issued cautious signals suggesting a willingness to return to the negotiating table, the economic damage is already being felt far beyond their borders. The European Union, for instance, finds itself ensnared in the conflict, grappling with increased input costs and retaliatory trade barriers that